And hi, everybody. Welcome to Rick Snider's Washington. So my hair doesn't look like I'm a crazy person. Where you hear the whole story, so please like, share, subscribe, comment, and hit the thanks button. I say that for the algorithm. And nobody's here yet, but we'll let everybody get in. Steve, where are you? And I'll tell you about today's day of Commander's Park. Gosh, I actually just said that instead of Redskin Park for once. Must be finally catching on. So there, Steve. I knew you'd be here. And A.K. Shreve. Hi, guys. Thanks for coming. I'll let the room fill up a few people and I'll get started. We'll do an hour. I literally just got home from the park. So, been a 12-hour day and still got an hour with you. Thanks to the generosity of so many. So, yeah, hit the thanks button. I know I'm saying this for people on replay because nobody's really here yet. But if you're watching on replay later, hit the thanks button still. All right. Well, we got a handful. All right. People are piling in now. So, long day at the park, to say the least. I mean, usually we had the introductory press conference with Josh Harris was there. Peters was there. And, of course, Dan Quinn was there. I don't know if the two coordinators they hired were in the room or not. But if they were, they didn't say anything. I don't know what they look like offhand. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. No magic. Yeah, no magic. I was thinking about that on the drive home. I haven't heard from Magic lately. Kind of weird. But the three of them were there. You know, the big three were there. And I got to say, I was thinking, wow, it really is a new world, you know, with all these guys. One of the things I did while I was there, and I'll show it to you on my phone, I happened to catch, get away from the ring light. There you go. That is the 1937 championship trophy. I've heard about this thing. I'd never seen it. It's in the case right next to the Super Bowl trophies. Where's the 42? I didn't have time to go look for it, if it's there or not. Probably is. But anyway, this was a trophy, 1937, that disappeared for years and years. And when they were literally looking through the storage rooms at RFK before moving to FedEx in 97, the PR man, Mike McCall, said, he saw this box and he thought he saw a trophy and he thought, it's probably something dumb. And he went over and pulled it out of the box. And sure enough, it's the 37 championship trophy. It says it right on it. I don't know if you can see that or not. Look. Yeah, you can see it down the bottom. And they verified it with the Hall of Fame. And sure enough, it's a championship trophy. That's the first time I'd ever gotten to see it. So that was kind of cool. Next time I go by, I'll see if I can find the 1942 trophy. Anyway, so I thought, I think this is my 12th coach that I've covered. And normally they talk for, 10 minutes, take some pictures with the helmets, and that's it. Quinn talked for an hour, full hour, about so much stuff. And, of course, some of the news that came out of it, not much of it, but Eric Bieniemy was told to leave. They just said, hey, thanks for everything. Nice to meet you, but I got different guys, of which they hired today, Cliff Kingsbury for offensive coordinator. So EB's not needed anymore, and he's officially told you're free to go look for work. And then Joe Witt came from Dallas to be the defensive coordinator. He's worked with the Quinn for quite a while. So I have an error. The scouts are all staying. Peter says he's met with all the scouts. And that's customary. Scouts stay through the draft because they've been working for you for so long. You don't cut them loose with all that intelligence. So you keep them around. You don't have to listen to them, whatever. But the scouts are staying. That's really the only news, per se, that came through. They probably will change some other people. If you're wondering, Jason Wright was sitting in the front row watching the whole thing, so he's still there. Kind of quiet at the park today, but it's off season. So players really aren't around. I didn't see any players in the back. Maybe they came in late, but I didn't, when Gibbs came the second time, man, the place was packed. And, this one, I didn't see a player one, but maybe somebody came in late. To hit the first one, Esteban asked about with Kingsbury, does that kind of mean Caleb Williams? Because, Kingsbury coached Caleb Williams at USC last season. So if anybody knows if Caleb Williams is really worth it or not, It's Kingsbury. What my question to him would be is, can you be objective and tell me, I know he was fine at USC, but can he be a pro quarterback? There is a difference. And I know you have a personal relationship with him and maybe you don't want to do that, but we really got to know, can this kid make it at this level? And maybe decide whether or not they want him. That's an interesting thing, though. To me, I would tell Joe Witt, I'd like you to meet Emmanuel Forbes. He's our first-round pick last year and didn't do too well with that staff. Can you fix him? Because your specialty is secondary. And let's not forget that Dan Quinn, if you go way back, was the secondary coach of the Legion of Boom in Seattle that won a Super Bowl and lost a Super Bowl. But that was an excellent secondary. So that's kind of a positive note on there. Jimmy asked me a lot, what's my take on Quinn's hire? Listen, he was the adult in the room. When I sat down and watched the 5 finalists, I said, this is really the guy you're looking for. If you're really looking for leadership, if this is not some BS thing you're talking about, if you're really looking for that, and a guy that you think you can get along with and grow together, then Quinn's your guy. More so. Ben Johnson bailed on him, and they were lucky that he bailed on him because he had the presence of mind to say, I'm not ready. I won't succeed right now doing this. Thank you. You saved everybody a lot of time and money by doing that. Because if you'd said, well, I'll take the money and come here and sucked, you would have just burned a couple more years for everybody. Thankfully, he said, I don't think I'm ready yet. Done. Thank you for your service on there. McDaniel, I might have gone McDaniel. I liked a lot of what I saw, but he told me, and I told everybody, that I'm an introvert. That's not a leader. Leaders aren't introverts. So I thought that scratches him. Quinn's your guy. Yes, he's a little older. Yes, he was 500 at Atlanta. But listen, the last 20 Super Bowls have been won by 10 guys in their first team and 10 guys with their second team, or 10 of them have been winning by guys on their second team. So that kind of shoots that whole thing down about you need a nice, shiny new penny. LimeWire, thank you so much for contributing. Everybody can see there that if you hit the share button, which is the $sign underneath my screen, you can say, Rick, thanks for working a 12-hour day and still giving us an hour of your time to tell us what happened at the park today. That's why you hit the thanks button. So thank you for that, LimeWire. He's optimistic. I have nothing to hang my hat on, so let's go have a draft in the season. Who are you drafting to? Let me say this. If Chicago is truly getting rid of Justin Fields, then I give them a second or third round pick that they're wanting, and I take him as the quarterback and compete against Sam. I'd say give Sam a fair chance, but and then I would say pedal that 2 down. Oh, pretend you're going to take something, but it's line season in the NFL. So and sell that for, get yourself a couple extra picks. Try and build more line. This team needs everything. And Quinn today said, he said, what are your foundations in a way? And he said, well, interior defensive line, Payne and Allen. And he liked the receivers. Okay, everything else, we got to start over here. And he wouldn't call it a rebuild. He called it a recalibrate. Whatever. Welcome to Washington, where we talk about, outside of our mouths all the time. Let's see. What else I have out of Quinn today? The coordinators will call plays. He's going to try and be the overall guy who makes the chemistry, the magic happen of the overall team. If he said, how would you describe a team you want? He said, explosive and physical. Wouldn't commit to anything as far as a timetable, how fast they're going to do it. Wouldn't say, go on, stay one. He can't say, we're going to win 12 games this year. I thought he was kind of funny at times, serious at others. I laughed when he said, I curse a lot. Didn't do so much in the presser. There's the difference between he and EB. In pressers, you watch your tongue. When you're out with the team and nobody else can hear you, do whatever you want. So he was smart enough to do that. And that's a key thing. EB should learn that. I laughed when he said, I have this thing about be where your feet are. I don't even grammatically, that drives me nuts. But he said, he's basically been thinking ever since he left Atlanta a few years ago, he was hoping he'd get a second chance. And he was preparing for that. Who would he hire and all those kind of things. And he said he was really hoping that Washington would call him saying, hey, we have an opening. Are you interested? He said, I didn't want to look too eager, so I didn't answer it on the first ring. But I don't know if he was surprised in the end of the day or not. But, hey, sometimes, the moves you don't make are the best moves. If they had taken Johnson, it would have not gone well, I don't think, because Johnson didn't have confidence in himself. So why should anybody else? Are they going to run a 3-4-D? Man, Joel, we haven't even gotten into anything else yet. Nothing else. Not who they want to pick. I mean, this is first day stuff for everybody. So they haven't even gotten any of that yet. So we'll see. Right now, they need some linebackers. I don't even know if you can run a 4-3, but I don't think you can go 3-4. They'll probably stay at 4-3. Chance to take a quarterback in the draft, Esteban. I don't know, 50-50, something like that. I mean, there's some other guys that you could take later in the first or second round and, trade your overall pick and, hedge your bet and not put it all in on number twos. Because let's go over some number 2 overall picks. Chase Young, who chased money instead of footballs and was a bust. Robert Griffin III. Well, the injury certainly hurt him, but his attitude didn't help either. LeVar Arrington, that was a good one. That one worked out pretty well. The GM, Eli, is, I think, a good one. He seems like a good, young, sharp guy. Bill, thank you so much for contributing. There's another guy that gets it. Rick's worked 12 hours today, and he spends an hour with us, so give him $5. I feel such a whore. At least I'm a cheap whore. Whatever. That's the new world, man. Newspapers and all don't employ people like me anymore. I work for others. And we need your help to continue doing this kind of journalism. Yeah. Esteban, I don't know if you can see it, but it's there's a $sign underneath the screen, at least some places. I think on some phones there isn't. And if there isn't, put $5 in the church plate for me if we can't figure it out. And this Sunday, I'm giving a sermon at a church. I'll put a link online so you can watch if you like. I edit church sermons for ministers, and one of them's got to be away, and he asked me to do a sermon this week. So I'm talking about, last chances with Jesus and cross and the whole thing. I'm telling the story of the 2 men that were crucified next to Jesus. One accepted the Lord and one didn't. What happened there? That kind of thing. So anyway, it's like 20-minute sermon in the middle of their whole thing. So that's Sunday. It's going to be an interesting week for that, me preaching, but I don't know. We'll see if it's any good or not. Eli, I see the Falcons trading up for Drake May. Well, I saw a picture of Drake. Was it Drake May that was standing next to Sam Howell? Everybody saw him. He's like 6 inches taller. That was pretty wild. Chris Samuels was great, Joel. He was the 3rd overall pick. What's my take on Fields? Never give up. I think a decent quarterback, not a great quarterback, but has gotten better. He's got some seasoning. What is he, 3 years now in there, I think? So you're getting a guy that's paid his dues to get better. That's why I would be willing to take him on for a 2nd or 3rd maybe and kick that quarterback thing down the road and take the risk out of it and trade your pick and get more out of it. We'll see. Justin Samuel, Curtis Samuel cost too much. I think you should drop him. Well, I mean, he's a free agent, so you don't have to re-sign him. We'll see what the price is. I want to say this about Cameron Curl. I don't think they're going to keep Cameron Curl, and that's just my opinion. But the thing is, he's now up for free agency, and he says, listen, you tagged me at $17 million. Why should I sign for less? Well, because nobody else is giving you $17 million. I can tell you that right now. I thought Cam didn't have his best year last year, and I think he was a good player on a bad defense, which makes you look even better than you are. And I don't think he's going to get that kind of money. But I think in the end, he'll chase bigger money elsewhere. That's just mine. Augustine the King has a bell. There you go. I have one too. I don't know what the bell means for emojis. Augustine, I trade for Fields and pick Harrison Jr. Yeah, that'd be a good one. I'd go Harrison with the 2 on there. Steve, Sam was slouching. Well, he was looking down at his phone or something. Bob, okay. Bob was former Redskin employees back in town. Yeah, I knew you'd want to hear about this stuff. I just hadn't been able to. Literally I got home, ate a bowl of chili, and then came on the show. It's been that kind of day. Let's see, Tech. If Fields was a good Chicago, they should take Marvin. Yeah, I agree. I would take, if you can get Fields and then get Marvin, whoo, I'm up for that one. Is Sam really 6 foot? Steve, well, I was 5'10" in my youth. I'm probably 5'9" now. You shrink when you get older. And I'd say he's a little taller than me, but not much. I don't think he's 6 foot. I think he's 5'11", something like that. What big deal? Whatever. Jonathan, well, you were right about EB. Okay. Guess I'm good with Cliff. I mean, Cliff has worked with a lot of good quarterbacks, so including Mahomes. So the guy knows something about it. So maybe he can turn, if he has to, he can turn Sam into even more. I think Sam's got stuff you can work with, and I think EB didn't do a lot of. I thought after midseason, I didn't think EB did a good job. So I don't know where EB's going to go after this, and I wish him well. But can I tell you more about the 37 trophy? Very cool. All right, Matthew. All right, so real quick, for those of you that may have missed it, I just happened to take a picture of the 37 trophy. There it is. That classic old time. They said it. I didn't look at it real close. There it is. Well, you can't quite tell on that one. What is it? It looks like his arm's broken, but I didn't notice this when I was taking the picture. The one arm there, I didn't notice that. So I can't say. But anyway, this just disappeared at RFK for decades. They didn't know where it was. And finally, they're moving out of RFK in 97. They have to go clear out this last big locker room door, which really wasn't far from the press box. And the PR man, Mike McCall, was going through stuff and saw it and said, "What's this?" He thought it was a toy or something. And then he found it and they showed it to the Hall of Fame. And they're like, "That's the 37 trophy." So they kept it. Simple as that. But, if he hadn't spotted it, it would have been in the trash. Raymond, Mayor Daniels, neither. Rick looks like Andy Reid. Oh, thanks a lot, Commander Room. I've lost a lot more weight than Andy Reid. But, okay, whatever. We're both that same age, glasses, gray mustache, bald. Okay, if you call that looking like each other, fine. Matter of fact, where is that? Oh, hold on. Let me get back. As you know, since it's Super Bowl week, I do have a special guest on. It's Andy Reid. Hi, everybody. You better bet for me. Bet for me. I'm going to win the Super Bowl. I don't know, Andy. Do you really think you can win the Super Bowl again? Ha! You said that last time. Guess you won. All right, well, we'll talk later in the week. I'll let you do the show then. Bye, everybody. I know, lost my mind. What can I tell you? I had my 6-year-old granddaughter with me watching the last game, and that's Andy Reid's on the screen. I said, "Does that look like me?" She goes, "Mustache, but other than that, no." I used to be 60 pounds heavier. Maybe I looked like him then. Esteban, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Eli, he loves the Kingsbury OC hire. And people hit on me like he's overrated. I'm like, head coach, I would not have picked him. Offensive coordinator, I would pick him at 2 different jobs. Okay, so Bob says EB's interview with the Raiders. Was that as a running back coach or an OC? I'd heard a couple things, but I've been rolling from one thing to the next today, so I hadn't had a chance to. I live a couple hours from Redskin Park or Commanders Park during the traffic. Today was a long day. Raymond says they need to restore it. Well, it's kind of shiny, the trophy. It looks okay. I didn't see it. This is the first time I've ever seen it. And they found this years ago. And I don't know where it's ever been for the last so many years, but it's now in the lobby next to the 3 big Super Bowls. And they've got a whole big display case. Looks really nice. It's just I don't get allowed in there very much. Not under Dan Snider. Maybe we get to come back inside the building a little more. No, Troy, I don't look like them. All right, Esteban, it sounds like you'd rather grab the picks than Daniels or May. Yes, I would. And I'm not doing that with Caleb Williams. I don't think Caleb Williams, from what I've seen, has the mental makeup to really succeed in the NFL, and I don't think he's going to last. The NFL is a hard, dark, cold place, and I am not lying about this. I don't care who you are. If you got problems, you're not surviving in the NFL. It's too hard, too competitive, too much pressure, all these things. I don't care if you're a writer. Hell, I was covering a team for years and years, had a heart attack at Redskin Park when it was called Redskin Park. Even almost took me out. It's not easy on anybody, and I don't, especially a first round top pick. If he succeeds, then God bless him, and I'm wrong. But I don't think I'm wrong. And I wouldn't bet that way. Gus Bus, the 3 Super Bowl trophies used to be displayed at Duke's Zebrats. Yeah. But now they're in the Redskin Park lobby. Steve, thank you so much for kicking in. Appreciate it. Raiders are close to Luke Getsy for OC. Okay, yeah, I've been so focused on this team today, I haven't looked around the league a whole lot. Tech Via, how many games into the season before we fire everybody? I don't know. I'd say the second loss, however long that takes. Matter of fact, I just was reading something a few minutes ago. Philadelphia is going to be hosting the game in Brazil. Well, I know a team that plays them. Boy, that would suck if we got to trade a road game in Philly for Rio de Janeiro. In a way, I mean, hey, I'd go. I don't think I'm going to get to go, but I'd go. I went to Japan for the Osaka game. You know, paper's going to pay me to fly to Brazil. Go for it, man. It's a chance of a lifetime for stuff like that. That's a long flight. It's a long flight down to Brazil. And if I did that, I'd say I'm taking a few days off and going to the South Pole. So I don't know. They didn't say who Philly would be playing yet. It's Super Bowl week. They announced teasers like this. So, all right, Eagles fans, you're up for the Rio game. Hey, not the worst place to go. Let's see. Patriots clips. Why do I have no sound? I don't know. Hit the sound button. Maybe that's it. I mean, the rest of you got sound, right? So, do you know Joe Gibbs' faith background, Joel? Not as far as, the moment of epiphany or whatever. He's always had it as long as I've ever known him. And I love listening to Joe talk about these things. I could listen to Joe talk about God and life for, forever. Maybe I have to in the next. I mean, after Sean Taylor died, Joe talked a lot about, 1,000. They say a day on earth is a day in heaven is 1,000 years on earth. Which means that people wonder why God hadn't come back to get us yet. It's only been the weekend. Give the guy a minute. So, I mean, he just talked a lot about that. It was really interesting. So I'm a person of faith. I don't sit here and talk about it all the time, but that's up to you. But so I don't know his original origin on that. Command the room. I'm going to type it again. Okay, sorry, did I miss it? Kingsbury's Cardinals have 4,200 yards rushing, passing, and 2,000 yards rushing. I mean, listen, they had one really good year. I think they won 11 games. Then the next year they fell off, and he got fired. So I don't know if there were other problems. What do I think of the Joe Witt one, Patrick? Offhand it doesn't grab me. But if that's a guy that Dan feels he can work well with and execute what he wants, then he has the right to pick it. This isn't the McDonald's dollar menu. You don't get to just go pick this and that. Plus, a lot of staffs are now taken. So it's not easy finding guys. But if that's who he's comfortable with, you have to give him the benefit of the doubt for right now. I mean, who was the last really good defensive coordinator that people like? Greg Williams, which was Gibbs at the end. So that's been a long time. Kyler Murray ran for his life that one. I remember Patriots clips. Yeah, Kyler Murray's a really nice player. Gus Bus, why the fear of losing a good OC after a year or two? At that point, a rookie QB will have learned. Well, it's true. So, could Kingsbury be back as somebody else's head coach? Possibly. But you take what you get, and then, you redo it. I mean, the nice thing about taking Quinn is they took it off Dallas's staffs. So now you weakened your opponent by taking his best guy. Brandon, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Patriots clips. I hope Kingsbury can start using a running back as offense. Well, that would be nice. I mean, I think Brian Robinson has been greatly underused in 2 seasons. Part of it was being shot the first year. I think took a while to get him. Took a half season for him to recover from that. So I think he could. I think he got 800 yards this year. It wasn't a lot because he didn't have. But you can't run the ball a lot when your defense gives up 20 points in the first half and you're down way big. That was part of it. Marvin Lewis wasn't bad, Joel. That's a good one, too. And that was after Joe. Okay. All right. I was after Greg, so the year after, wasn't it? No, that was before because Marvin was here in 2000. Okay, so Greg's since then. So if drafting a quarterback is not the answer, what is the quarterback? Well, like Steve said, if they can – Fields is the only quarterback out there I know that you'd really trade for available. But who else is out there? Baker Mayfield is a free agent. Guess who coached Baker Mayfield? Cliff Kingsbury. Just saying. Um, Raymond wants to use the backs more. Don't blame you. Mike, did you see the new bromance Quinn and Peters have? All right, we want to call it that. They're even installing a door between their offices. Okay. Well, I don't know if they'd have a door there because Redskin Park has a big lobby on the main floor, and the left side are coaches, and the right side are um, football staff, and the GM is usually over on the right side. So they don't really have adjoining offices, but maybe they've done something I don't know about. I mean, they're just a short walk. What would it take to change my mind on Caleb? Well, I mean, I listen to Kingsbury, and if he were to say, here's why we really like him. Look at this film. Let me show you something. I'll listen to it. I'm not, a stone. I'll listen to things. Frank, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Eli just looked it up. Kyler Murray had 423 yards rushing. Okay, there you go. I'm busy talking to you. You guys can fact check me. Hello from France. All right, undrafted player. Can you show us a priceless sport item you love? On the back of my thing here. Okay, let's see what we got. Well, I don't keep out all my good stuff. But just offhand, all right, I got a bunch of stuff. Over there. That's why I put it behind me. Here's my favorite. It's not a sports item, but it's a John Wilkes Booth bobblehead. Why would I have a presidential killer bobblehead? Because it's a cousin on my mom's side. Don't screw with me. I do like this one. I just got, this past year, the By Dan. I drank it, but it was kind of bitter, like, Dan. But that's kind of cool. And then I have the Big Jack beer. This is from 97. They made it for 1 year, and Jack died, and they quit making it. But that's his fedora there. And we used to drink these at training camp, and they were like $1 or something back then. It wasn't very expensive. So there you go. But thank you for watching from France. I like the darts. I like to watch from Europe. I watched European poker tournament the other day. I was bored and tired. And man, they had a poker tournament here in the U.S. when they have this. We all see the show. Everybody's quiet around them. Not over in Europe, in Barcelona, man, they were just cheering like crazy people for their guy. It was pretty wild to watch. Okay, let's see. Esteban, thank you for chipping in. Do you think they changed the name? Ooh, here we go with this. Not anytime soon. Nobody's gotten even near that yet. But maybe, let me just say, maybe by 2030 or so, when they move to a new stadium. That's if you're going to change the name, then there. Bob, they're still selling By Dan beer at Wegmans. I wandered through the beer aisle today at Wegmans because I wanted to buy this Irish beer I drank when I was in Ireland and found it. It's called Smithwick's. It's next to the Guinness, same company. And I did not see any By Dan beer anywhere. Haven't in a long time. I don't know if anybody, would you guys buy it anymore? I mean, it was cool back then, but would you still buy it? I don't know. Raymond, facts on the Wiz. The Wiz are what, 9-40 now? God. I was just thinking, it's like they got like 23 games left. Would say they win 5 of them. They win 14 games for the year. It's just ridiculous. Thomas, I feel like Harris goes out of his way and calls Washington football more than the Commanders. I've noticed that too. I haven't had a chance to ask him, what are you doing? What are you signaling to us? Tell us. Are you going to do it? I don't know. He talks a lot about the Redskins. He does say the word Redskins a lot. I say go back to Redskins. If the Chiefs can do their jazz, then there's no moral ground in the NFL over this, in my opinion. You hear the Chiefs fans doing the tomahawk, chop. Redskins fans never did that. You hear the Chiefs fans doing the war chants. Redskins fans never did that. But yet we're the racists and they're not. The reason we lost the name is because Dan Snider, they had the goods on them, and they traded it to get rid of the name and be done with that. But that's a bunch of BS. And I say, go ahead, grab the name back, tell everybody to stick it. And I've been told by people inside the team that said, listen, fans will be cool. We're not worried about losing money there. It's the corporate world. I would say the corporate world blows with the wind. They'll be all woke for a minute, and then they'll all give it up. So I wouldn't worry about it. But it's not me with my money, but I'd say we're going back to it. If you don't like it, lump it. Or go to Warriors and put the spear on the helmet. Let's just move on. from this. I've talked to a lot of American Indians about this. I could tell I've done a lot of work about this. If the outsiders, they're, just like when they, Amazon tried to take my book down on 100 things Redskins fans should know and do, until I waved the First Amendment at them, and they finally put it back up. So much for that. And then if you go to eBay, for instance, they all said, we're not doing this anymore. You look, there's thousands of Redskins items on there. So they all talk out their ears instead of me saying the mean word, which then YouTube looks at me like, what are you doing? Eli, the Wizards are horrible. May not get top 2 pick thanks to the lottery. Yeah. At that franchise, I don't know who cursed them next. But that's just blowing up. All right, we're halfway through the show because I am only doing an hour. It's been a long day. So, but it's good to go out to the park. Beautiful day out at the park, and you get to see people I haven't seen in a month or so. And so we'll see who's around. I'm actually going to help the team do a podcast. I'm just going to appear on it, but they're going a big history series, and I don't know when it's coming out, but they asked me to come on it, so I will. Tomorrow morning, 106.7 The Fan. For those of you who listen to the Sports Junkies, I'll be on at 7 a.m. Talking this stuff. So why would you listen to that when you can listen to this? But I'm not on again then, so you can listen to them too, I guess. I do write for 106.7 The Fan. I have a column up today about what happened. So you go to Audacy.com, AUDACY.com, and you can see my column there. Let's see. Command the room. Conservative stuck in the past. Yeah, I know. Whatever. Oh, okay. I guess it's not a racist name. So I guess you're actually against me on that one. I've spoken to Indians about this. I've been on like the Dakota reservations where we talk about this stuff. They care less. For everybody who's offended, there's many people who aren't. If we offend just one person, well, then they got to suck it up. How about that? I'm probably going to get cancel cultured now, but whatever. If they do, you do me a favor. I can retire in peace. We could have a Wizards of Caps chat, Eli, except I don't really know a whole lot about them because I can't stand watching losers. I mean, Ovi. How about Ovi? He's doing great. But, Wizards are so hard to watch. I try to watch Maryland basketball when I have a chance to do that because that's my team. Command the room, you're right about all that. And Esteban, thank you so much. And by the way, my new book is coming out. Should be on Amazon anytime now. Among other places, called Presidential Pours. This is the copy of the cover. The book is much bigger than this. It's a 5x8. But it has all the presidents and their favorite alcohol drinks and all that. Next Monday, I'll guarantee I'll show you the link how to order. It's only going to be $15. I'll sign it for you if I buy it. If you buy it from Amazon, you don't get it signed. I make more money selling it to you directly. But anyway, it's going to come up. It's a fun book, simple read. I basically say, here's a funny story about the guy. This is what he likes to drink, maybe a little more, and we're out of here. And you turn in the page. And you can skim it quick. And, I wrote Cliff Notes versions of things, basically. But I like presidents. Presidents, man. There's so many guys that were presidents that were drunk, crazy people in the 1800s. You're thinking, seriously? You think we have trouble with picking presidents now? They weren't any better. Let's see, Jordan, I think we should focus on winning before changing the name. Well, but if you win, let's say you win a Super Bowl in 2 years. Let's just say that. Now you're going to change the name? Probably not. If they win a Super Bowl or something with Commanders, I don't think you can change the name. Capitals aren't a best team in DC right now. Eli, well, they're not the worst team, but they're like a 500 team now, I guess. About, I don't know. I just don't hear the buzz about them like we did. Joel, did you miss the chat? No, we're halfway through. And for all of you coming in late, because most people watch about 15 minutes of the show, and I get to recycle the group around. If you do come in late, you can always, when the show's over, YouTube recycles it. So reboots it, whatever we want to say. So you can see the whole thing from the beginning, just a few minutes after the show ends. And do it. And if you're watching now like that, chat, you can always hit that $sign underneath me and contribute to the cause to say, Rick, you worked 12 hours today and we appreciate it. And here's $1. Take it out. You can pay $1. Who is a better coach from Maryland, Lefty or Gary? Never give up. The better coach was Gary. The better recruiter was Lefty. But lefty could have sat and watched the game and ate some popcorn. Gary was a great game tactician, more so than lefty. And I like lefty a lot. My father is basically a carbon copy of lefty, both from Carolina, 6'5", bald, that kind of thing. Talked like lefty. So I don't know, maybe that's why I like lefty. But lefty was a great, great recruiter on everything, promoter, all that. Just, man, when it came down to X's and O's at the end. Hello, let's see. David says, what happens to the advisory people now? They get to go live their lives, collect your consulting fee, and we'll see you next crisis, basically. What do I think about the coordinator hires, Jordan? Witt, whatever. Witt, I don't have a real opinion on that. But I don't know who else they would have gotten, but it doesn't light me up. Kingsbury, it's a good one. Kingsbury is for an OC is a good one, not as a head coach, and that's not what he's being asked. Matthew, the name is iconic. It was like the Yankees, Lakers changing their name, impacted a huge bunch. I know there's a lot of people, but upset. But we'll see what happens. Joel, can I do a quick recap and you'll buy the book? Which book? Presidential Pours, which is all about my every president. That it's President's Day coming up. Every president's favorite alcoholic drink, although there were a handful that didn't drink, like Biden and Trump and George W. Lucky 3 of the last 4, I think, were sober. There's even a quote in the book from Trump that says, you imagine what kind of mess I'd be if I did drink? And he doesn't drink because he had an older brother who was an alcoholic. There's a lot of funny stories in the book. I'll go over it next week because it's percolating on Amazon. It'll be ready any day, and they're printing them, and I'm just going to wait until I have them in hand. So next Monday we'll talk about the Super Bowl and how you can order the book, and hopefully everybody does. Super Bowl pick. I know everybody's like, what are you doing? I'm going with Kansas City. Until you knock off the King, I just think they're better than San Francisco, playing better at the moment at least. So I'm going to go that, and it's over under, I think 48. That's what I got here. Let's see. Oh, I don't have it here. Okay, I think it's 48 to over under. I would go over. Okay, so 202 Hallow. What's my way too early prediction for the Commanders at 2? Trade. James B., thank you for coming. Do I think Ron ends up in Dallas, Brandon? No. Esteban says the name's not that bad, just need wins behind it. Yeah, the name's okay. I don't really care. It's fine. I'm just glad they picked a name and we're done. And we're not going to refight the war. Bryce, if Dallas quarterback will it be a competition with Sam or Jacoby? If they resign Jacoby, because he's not, that's the hard part you got to decide on. Maybe is, Jacoby had a decent little season, little he played. He's a decent quarterback. He's a good guy. Do you keep him do you sign him in free agency hedging? I think he made $7 million last year. He probably want to go to $8 million this year. But we'll see what the market does there. But I would definitely, if they don't draft a quarterback, I would want Jacoby still on this team. Is Al Harris from Dallas coming to DC? I've heard talk about it, Tech, but nothing official. Thomas, I need you to move Super Bowl one more weekend to President's Day. Okay, let me try that. Okay, it's done. It took my X-rays take about 2 years to do, but I agree. Although I don't know, why can't you go to work on Monday? I mean, are you that drunk? I mean, in the game it's 6:30 to 10, so it's not like it's 1 a.m. and you're drunk. Can't you, make it? I don't really drink a whole lot anymore like that. I don't get blackout drunk, sorry. But so I don't know why it's such a big deal to have Monday off after that. Just don't drink till you're blackout. Sorry. James, each team's allowed at least 3 quarterbacks. Well, they're not really allowed it, just they can have it on their roster. They can have one only if they want. You'd be crazy, but you could. It's just up to the teams. And a lot of them stash that third guy now, like Jake Fromm. They stash him on the practice squad instead of the active roster. So they have an extra guy on the active roster. And they have the practice squad guy ready to go. And you can have a third guy on standby if you make him active that game day. Like you're thinking, well, our quarterback's going out there, he's kind of beat up. Then you hedge your bet and make him active. Super early Commanders win-loss record, Joel. All right. Let's see. I'll say 7-10. Would that make you happy? I mean, at least to be progress, you know. Jack, how long for Super Bowls on pay-per-view? Damn good question. And a lot of people, that would be a fatal thing for the NFL to do. Really would, because you're killing your audience doing that. And yeah, you're making more money, and I know they love money, but it'd be a stupid thing to do. Super Bowl Sunday is a national holiday with Monday off. Well, Mike, if it's a national holiday on Sunday, I mean, Easter's a holiday on Sunday, and you don't get Monday off. So I don't see the big deal. Never give up. Your take on Ted Leonsis as an owner. Well, as a Wizards owner, he has sucked big time. And listen, I think Ted Leonsis is a brilliant man. Brilliant man. I've had a few discussions with him over the years, and I'm telling you, you sit next to him and talk to him, you see a really smart dude. His question now is, he wants to move the arena and all. And I don't have a problem with that. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to get a legacy land built, basically, and do a lot of positive stuff. I think overall it would be a positive. Now, DC doesn't like it because they won't get the tax money, but DC's already planning to redo the area. So I like Ted overall. I think he's too patient with bad employees that haven't performed, among other things. So it's the irony is he took the Caps to be able to buy the Wizards one day, and they've done much better with the Caps. Of course, you have Ovi, generational player, that helps. But overall, I worry that Ted's too caught up in the gambling and all these other money-making ventures and not focusing enough on the team. Jan, I think everybody should be putting pressure on them and the learners to sell their part too. And David Rubenstein's a DC guy that bought the Orioles. Why couldn't he have bought the Nats? David Rubenstein's a really cool guy too. James, you don't need Monday after Super Bowl up because of alcohol. You need it all for the spicy foods and gastric distress. I'll tell a story. I got food poisoning December 6th. And JMZ, so was Quinn really our guy, or was it Dan Quinn was our guy all along? I don't think Dan Quinn was their number one, but they didn't really get to making an offer on Ben Johnson. There is talk about they made an offer to McDonald and he turned them down. You know what? All I'll say is after everything's done, people say a lot of crap to defend themselves about whatever. So you can't believe anything you hear on that level. Why did Bobby Beathard leave the Skins in '89? And Mojo asked. It was not a power struggle with Gibbs. Bobby wanted to move out to the West Coast. He had a lifestyle thing. He wanted to be able to surf. He ran a marathon, stuff like that. He was a big outdoors guy and wanted to live in San Diego, which has perfect weather. And he felt like he did all he could do here. And he actually took them to a Super Bowl too. It was a great exec, so it had nothing to do with Joe. Can I repeat my thoughts on KK, Joel? A brilliant offensive mind, has done very well with quarterbacks, likes to run some too. So I think X's and O's wise as an OC, he's really good. I think he's as good as anybody they could have gotten. So I'm okay with that. How many changes do you see in the front office? Mike asked. Nothing right now. The scouts are staying through the draft. Jason Wright was sitting in the front row today. So far, I don't see anything over there yet. But I'm sure something will happen. Any news on how Art Monk is doing? Asked Bill. Art's got some health issues that I don't like to really discuss because it's not my place to discuss them. But if you have time, if you have room for prayers of good thoughts for Art, I would do it. Not that he's dying or anything, but Art's, struggling health-wise. So could always use good thoughts for him on there. We got 15 minutes to go. Okay. So if you're new to the show, if you want to hit that $sign right below my picture, that means that you say, thanks, Rick, for working 12 hours today, doing all this and still hanging out to talk to us. And I appreciate it. Roost 599. Is Caleb Williams in play for the Commanders? Well, I would say yes. I would not trade up to 1 to get him. I wouldn't take him at 2. I'm not a Caleb Williams guy. Sorry. I'm just not. I've watched the film. I don't see that he's he's not a generational quarterback. And there's some red flags with his, overall, game about things that I just wouldn't want him. And he may turn out to be the next Johnny Unitas, and I'm wrong. Then I'm wrong. Wouldn't Bill Belichick fit in a team like Lombardi, Allen, and Gibbs? Mojo, no. I mean, Belichick's it wouldn't have fit in. I mean, I'm looking today I see a new owner who's in his 50s. I see a young GM. I see a veteran coach who's not a retread or a wore out coach. And I thought, this is good chemistry here. They're on the same page. Maybe it's not a winning page in the end. Who knows? But they're on the same page. And I think that wouldn't have been the case with Belichick. Joel, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Commander, Jed, praying for Art's healing. I mean, Art's older. When you get old, and for those of you who aren't old yet, it sucks big time. It really does. I've had myself one ailment after another for the last 2 years. Then 2 years ago, last January, I was laying on my kitchen floor. Couldn't move my right side. They thought I was having a stroke. Turned out it was a disc in my back, of all things. It caused a big muscle spasm, and I lost 15 minutes of it. Scared the hell out of me, though. But, I've had to deal with a lot of stuff, minor stuff, that you just suck it up and you keep going. But being old sucks. I would much rather be 25 again. When people say, I wouldn't be young again, oh, yes, I would. Maybe I'd take better care of myself, and the bad things when I got older wouldn't have happened. When does old start, Esteban? I don't know. I think 40s. When you're in your 40s, your sins of your youth start to visit on you. 50s, it definitely does. 60s, you disappear, even in your 50s. So I'm happy to still be here. Texty, your father-in-law said never get old. Smart man. I mean, versus the other part where you're dead. But, it's still getting old is not for sissies. You're going to have aches and pains and, all kind of stuff. Bad backs, Joel. Yeah, bad back sucks. I'm lucky. I do a lot of things to try and since I had that back scare like that, I've lost a bunch of weight. I do stretching most days, things like that. Yeah, it's this kind of stuff you got to do. It's like maintenance. It sucks. Mike, could KK make hay with Hal? Yeah. I mean, he's worked with other guys and done well with them. He's had a number of good quarterbacks. I think if you give Sam a little bit of give him a little bit of blocking and actually run the ball some, and hey, your defense doesn't have you down by 20 in the second quarter, I think Sam could do it. Sam's got game. Art never got a Super Bowl touchdown, Mojo? Okay. I'd have to look that up. Offhand, don't remember. I remember the last Super Bowl was over 30 years ago on there. I do have the USFL's folding really helped that 87 team. They got Doug Williams, Kelvin Bryant, Ricky Sanders, and Gary Clark. And that year, Art only played 9 games. Missed one with the strike kind of thing. And they missed 3. It was 1 game last season, and then they had 3 with scabs that they called them, the scabskins. Yeah, I think it was. So that's 4 games out of 16. So he only could play 9 of 12. And Ricky Sanders and Gary Clark stepped up and made a big difference in that team that year. So, Mike, thank you so much for all that. We're down to last 10 minutes. All right. So, quite the day at the park. To recap, Eric Bieniemy, for those who come in late, Eric Bieniemy is now gone. The scouts are staying through the draft. Coordinators are calling plays. Dan Quinn did a great job with the presser, talked for an hour. Yeah, that was amazing. And it was a good hour. I mean, I'd say 45 minutes in, I started looking at my watch like, okay, I got deadline. What do we got going on here? How much you got left to, He answered the questions given him. It was just surprising it went that long. Normally it doesn't. Which quarterback do I like most at the top of the draft? John, none. I don't see a generational quarterback here. Some years there's not. It's just the NFL tries to convince itself there are. But look in recent years how they've had a lot of guys that weren't that great. Look at last year. C.J. Stroud ended up being the only one that was really there. Tech, $90 million salary cap's about 4 free agents. Yeah, but you can't pay 4 guys like that, because you got to use that at 90 mil, and I think it's really down more to like 75, 80 because you got dead money. You got a rookie pool of X amount that's got to be paid. You got to have, you can't spend it all before the season because you have to have an emergency fund for players who are hurt and gone for the season. You're paying off their deals, and then you got to pay a new guy somebody for him too. So you got to save at least $5 million for that. So, I think you can probably, if you could get 2 good free agents, that's probably where you're going. 2 top ones. Would I draft a QB this year and never give up? No, I would not. Would not. I don't see it. But I don't know. Maybe I'll change. Combine starts about 3 weeks from now. So that's the hype machine begins. And we'll see what happens then. My personal opinion on linebackers that we have. Who stays and goes? Brandon. I liked Cody Barton, but in the overall scheme of life, Cody's, an average player. But I liked him. I liked how he hit people. So I would keep him. Jamin's just going to be, if he's now a decent player, but that's what he is. He's never going to be that great player. But what the heck? You got him still. You keep him. The rest of them, interchangeable. All right, Commander Chaplain Reverend Rashid Fry. There's a mouthful. You're 63 like me. Okay. So, yeah, that sucks. Can't eat what you want either. All right, Harrison at 2. I would consider Harrison at 2, yes. If they can't pedal it, you're going to get yourself a star receiver, and you need superstar players. He has the potential for that. That's how you win Super Bowls, is when you have great players. The amazing part of Kansas City and San Francisco, they played 4 years ago in the Super Bowl. Combined, only 7 players on the current rosters of the 2 of them. 4 with Kansas City, 3 with San Francisco. So if Kansas City, with all this success, has rolled through almost their entire roster, except for Kelsey and Mahomes. And by the way, Kelsey, you were in Vegas yesterday. Couldn't you got there early for the Grammys and sat in the balcony with the fans and cheered Taylor on like she does you? I think that would only have been fair. Oh, well, got to teach these kids something. She's going to write a song about him saying you weren't in the balcony. First pick in the draft, Esteban. I think they're going to talk themselves into Caleb Williams, whoever it is. I wouldn't. I haven't gotten to the draft that hard yet. Tony, so you say $73.6 million is in the cap space as of today. Yeah, I knew it was around 75. So is Caleb eccentric like John Riggins was? Well, I don't know Caleb enough to say that. John was a free spirit, Mojo. I'll put it at that. Thomas, shame Chase didn't work out. Yeah, he chased the money too much. You see him now. Now he's going to be in a Super Bowl, and he'll always he won't see himself as the problem. But he is the problem. He's not playing hard enough. Do you expect us to trade down, Jordan? I think if I flipped the coin right now, I would say that's more likely. But they haven't even had these discussions so much among themselves. Peter's kind of talked today about they're just getting going. So they haven't gotten with stuff. Long snapper with the second pick, Tech. Yes, absolutely. Find that guy. I actually watched a little of the Senior Bowl, and I watched the snappers just to see how they did. So, has changed. To update your Wi-Fi information, Siri, stop. Alexa wanted to talk about something. Like your Wi-Fi name or password I hate Alexa. There's nothing to stop here. And now Siri's talking to her. Isn't that weird? Okay. I don't know what that was about. You ever see the Saturday Night Live thing where all the old people, instead of calling her name, they come up with all these other names? It's a funny skit. Love what you're hearing from Dan Quinn. Well, everybody should have a good first day, Let's not hate on people until tomorrow. I like Dan's answer about not using the word rebuilding, recalibrating. That's fine, Clayton. I don't care. He's a wordsmith, whatever. Am I a fan of the Dan Quinn hire, Mojo? I think it was the best one they could come up with. I personally would have gone and got Harbaugh. Okay. And maybe it'd have been crazy as all. And he probably wouldn't, this GM wouldn't have been able to handle that. And, they chose the path of less resistance. And I knew Harbaugh wanted to be on the West Coast. So maybe it wouldn't have happened anyway. Dan Snider would have got Harbaugh because he would have just spent silly money to get him. And maybe it all would have burned down. But I don't know. But Harbaugh is a winner. I knew that. Mike, I couldn't barely watch the Pro Bowl with 7-man flag. I didn't watch it either. I had other things to do. Took my grandkids. We went to the Titanic exhibit. I hate to give spoilers, but it didn't end well for them. Not for the Titanic, not my grandkids. So my grandson's suddenly a big Titanic uh, man. So he loves looking at it. I hear it's not unusual. I actually went to the graveyards in Halifax, Canada, where they buried 150 people from the Titanic, including the guy that was supposed to be the Leonardo DiCaprio guy. So I used to travel a lot. Going to start traveling again soon. Thinking of Vegas in May. I heard about the one in Gatlinburg, Thomas. People say it's great. I saw a Titanic exhibit in Vegas once years ago. The one here than traveling in DC was okay, but I'm sure there are better ones I hear. I haven't been to Gatlinburg in like 25 years. So Dolly and I, we agreed not to bother each other anymore. No, man. No, I've been to Dollywood. It's a great thing. Dolly's a wonderful woman. Kept that town going. Who doesn't love Dolly? If you don't love Dolly, you hate America. And yeah, Thomas is right. The traffic in Gatlinburg is brutal in the summer. It's just this little old mountain town, but now all these people come to it. So I was in Gatlinburg once in the early 70s. My parents drove through. My dad was kind of from that region. So I remember what it was like then. What time is it? 3 minutes to 9. I know I hate to be a hardcore about this, but if you got something to ask us now, because I am tired. See my eyes, they kind of look tired. That's from hitting it all day. And if you want to throw the $ money at me too, you got 3 minutes, or you can do it on replay. So there are videos up 6 a.m. every day. I'm doing Seasoned of Discontent podcast tomorrow. Didn't have time today to get to it. And, also videos at dinner time too. So tomorrow, I'm sure I'm talking about Commanders. I haven't done that one. I'm that far behind today. So that's what we're doing. My next food review, Thomas, I don't know yet, but it'll be coming. I'm all go to bed tech. Well, no, it's only 9 o'clock. I got an hour. I haven't sat down for 2 minutes today. So I want to watch something on TV, whatever it is. Not European poker like I just talked about. The Chargers need to move up from 5-2 and take Harrison. All right, so if you want to do that one, I need more than their early second-round pick to do that. Plus a 2025 first? Okay, so I get an extra 1 and a 2 to move down 3 spots. I'll probably make that deal. And you could still get the offensive tackle or somebody. You could still get a really good player at 5. And if you don't believe in the quarterbacks, then why waste the pick there? That's not a bad trade, Tony. Daniel, thank you for coming. Except we're getting ready to tune off in a minute, Daniel. You can watch replay, though. Is Harris a buffoon, JMZ? No, not that I see. I mean, he's not a dynamic speaker, but he's a businessman. I don't have any problems with him, at least not yet. Daniel, you're late for class. I'm going to give you an incomplete. What can I tell you? Josh I don't have any problems with Josh. Say that, not yet. I mean, I didn't like that he sent out ticket renewal forms the week before Christmas. I'd have waited a week for that, but maybe he didn't even know about it. Maybe somebody in the office did it. That happens. All right, so if you're watching on replay, or if you missed any of the earlier show, you can watch again on replay. It'll be ready in a few minutes. YouTube recycle stuff. You can watch, if you go on Amazon, you can look for my book the next day or so. But next Monday, I'll tell you how to order it direct from me at the same price, and I'll sign it for you. So we'll talk about it next week. Last week, I did 3 midday ones because so much news popped. I did 3 midday live shows. We had a lot of people watch. And tonight was pretty good, too. I don't know. I'm going to do probably a couple more Mondays, and then I might take a break for a little while because I've done Monday shows every week since July, except for the week I had COVID. So I think I need a rest, too. I need to take a breath. I'm getting old. Seems like teams don't want quarterbacks when they get to that $40 million range. Well, it's a big gamble giving up that much money. If he doesn't do it, they'll go to Aaron Rodgers today, like this year. He plays 3 snaps or something like that, and he was hurt. That's a ball buster. Josh is a red rose next to our former owner. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Never give up. Absolutely. Daniel, so they're going to get rid of Eric. I guess you're talking about Bieniemy because they didn't like to hire him to do something. Well, EB's been told to look for other opportunities. So wish them well. And, you hired a new person. The new coach wants his own people. So, and EB didn't do such a great job that you could not keep him. So I liked EB a lot. I wish him well. Jerry don't want to play Dax, don't want to pay Dax $60 million. Don't blame him. You win me a Super Bowl, we'll talk. Other than that, no. And Bo, I'm okay if they want to keep Howell and try and roll with him one more year. Try and keep Jacoby as his backup. And if it doesn't work out and they crash and burn, then go get a quarterback next year. Whatever it is and whoever it is, I wish them the best for our team. Well, okay, there you go. That's a positive attitude, Daniel. Positive attitude. And there we go. We are done. Anyway, thank you all for coming so much. I do appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up button before you leave. That makes the algorithm happy on everything. And like I said, you see the videos back again tomorrow at 6 a.m. And I don't know what I'm talking about. We'll get to it. And it's been one of those days, rip and run with the team. I'm not a beat writer anymore, and I wouldn't have time to talk to you if I was. That's why the other guys don't do this so much. They don't have time, man. Beat writing's an exhausting amount of time. So that's what we do. And so otherwise, if you contributed to the cause, thank you so much. If you're watching on replay, you can hit the $sign. Late money's just as good. Do appreciate that. And hopefully this week will quiet down a little bit. I mean, I don't know what else there is to do, really. I mean, you'll hear about positional coaches coming up this week on there. So everybody, thank you so much for coming. I'm out of here. I'm Rick Snider for Rick Snider's Washington. Thanks, everybody, for coming. I'll see you next Monday on the live chat, and then every day just watch the videos. And have a good week. Thank you. Oh, and remember, Kansas City plus the points over 48. And I get 10% of the wins and none of the grief over that. All right. See you guys.